welcome back. Today we're going to go over Chapter 1, Lesson 6. I hope you guys are not going stir crazy and you're handling this okay. I hope you enjoy these videos. Please make sure you get to page 56 in your books and follow along. You should have done the got it problems yesterday and try them yourself. Today I'm going to go over those and show you how we are going to solve proportions using cross products, okay? When we cross products, you guys usually want to call it kind of your butterfly method, but that's not, we're going to use the cross product because when you get into 8th grade, you're going to want to know that. So when I do the cross product, I'm multiplying. So I notice my x is in my first proportion. I always want, when it has my equal sign, I'm always going to put my variable on the left-hand side and everything else on the right. It doesn't matter which way you do it. It's just a better habit to keep it on the left side. So I'm going to take x times 10, which is 10x. You always put the variable second, which equals, and then 4 times 9 is 36. Once I've done that, I've set up my equation, and I just need to solve for x. So to solve for x, we're multiplying here, so you do the opposite, which of the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 10 and divide by 10 to both sides. These 10 cross each other off, so I'm left with x. So x equals, well, 36 divided by 10 is 3.6. So that is my final answer for A. The got it problem B. They have changed where the variable is, and they changed the variable letter, which is y, which is okay. It's not a problem, but we're going to still circle opposite the numerator and denominator. Here we have the denominator on the left and numerator on the right. So 2 times y is 2y. So again, I'm putting my variable on the left-hand side. Then 34 times 5. If you don't know 34 times 5 in your head, which I don't, I use the calculator. I could have written 34 times 5 off to the side, but now in 7th grade we get the choice to use the calculator, so we're just going to go ahead and use it. So 34 times 5 is 170. Then I'm going to divide by 2 on each side. So y equals 170 divided by 2 is 85. Again, I could have done long division, 170 divided by 2, but we get the choice to use the calculator. Going on to C. They moved the position of the variable yet again. Again, it does not matter. We're just going to go ahead and circle these. Again, I want to do whatever is circled with a variable first. So the variable is with the 3 times n. So I have 3n equals, and then it would be 7 times 21. 7 times 21 is 147. Solve for n. This is multiplying, so we will divide. Divide by 3, divide by 3, and equals, and I just plugged 147 divided by 3 in my calculator, and I got 49. For D, please look at the next page on page 57. And we're about in the middle of the page for the got it problem. It says the ratio of 7th grade students to 8th grade students in the soccer league is 17 to 23. They wrote it as 17 to 23 because that's another way to write a ratio, or we could write it as a fraction format, 17 to 23. It says if there are 200 students in all, how many are in 7th grade? So first we have to figure out how many are in all to start with. So if we have the ratio of 17 to 23, we actually have to add, because these are the 7th graders, these are the 8th graders, we actually have to add 17 plus 23. And when I add that, I get a total of 40. So now I write my ratio of 7th graders to the total that they had. So my 7th graders were 17. So I put 17 out of the total of 40 students. Okay, so now I have 7th graders to the total number of students. Then it says if there are 200 students in all. Well, if my total is 40 on the bottom, my total has to be on the bottom too. So that's 200. So now we want to know how many out of 200 would be 7th grade. Okay, so we had to read through the story problem, pull out those key terms. And now we have our proportion that we can solve by doing the cross product. So it'd be 40n equals, and then that would be 17 times 200. And 17 times 200, I did in my calculator, and I got 3,400. Now, back to where we were at, we solve for n. If this is multiplication, we divide by 40 and divide by 40. So I put that in my calculator, and n equals 85. So that's my final answer. So in a story problem like the one on page 57D, and you're asking for the total students, they give you a ratio first. You have to add those together to get the total, and then you can place it into your ratio. Our final got it problem is on page 58. So if you'll turn to page 58, it's another story problem. So this story problem reads, Olivia typed 2 pages in 15 minutes. Write an equation relating the number of minutes M to the number of pages P typed. How long will it take her to type 10 pages at this rate? Okay, I read that quickly. I'm going to go back and I'm going to reread it because it says, write an equation relating the number of minutes to the number of pages. Okay, so when I was reading through it, it said 2 pages in 15 minutes. And then in the story problem, it's very careful that you have to have it in the correct order because it says minutes to pages. So if it's minutes to pages, minutes has to be on top, to pages, which is on the bottom. So then I'm going to place my number in here. So 15 minutes to 2 pages. So then I just created my ratio. So then if my ratio is 15 to 2, I just have to divide this. So 15 divided by 2 is 7.5 that would be minutes per page. Okay, because we have that per page. So then if I need to write an equation, my equation would be the number of minutes equals, the total number of minutes is 7.5 times x, where x equals number of pages. Okay, so then it asks how long will it take her to type 10 pages. So it would be m equals 7.5 times my 10, because x is the number of pages. So 7.5 times 10, we can just move that decimal over. So m equals 75, and my label would be minutes. After that, you guys were supposed to do the got it problems, and then you guys were supposed to do either the guided practice on the bottom of page 58, or you could have done the quick check on online. I'm going to go over the guided practice. If you didn't, please pause this video and take a minute and try to solve number 1 and number 2. Once you've done trying to do those problems, go ahead and play the video back again. So hopefully you had a chance and you practiced those problems and you try to do them yourself first before I'm going over them. So again, what do we do? Cross product. So we're going to circle going across because that's why we have the cross product. I'm going to keep my variable on the left, so I'm going to have 56k equals, and then 7 times 32, and I did that in my calculator, which you should probably be doing also, which would be 224. Divide by 56. divide by 56. So K equals 4. I just did 224 divided by 56 in my calculator. I'm gonna stop for a minute. I'm gonna show you another way that we can do this. I'm gonna set it up over here. If I had K over 7 equals 32 over 56. If sometimes these problems you can do it without doing the cross multiplying by just finding an equivalent fraction. So in this problem, can I take 7 times something to equal 56? Yeah, I multiply it by 8, yeah. So if I take 7 times 8 to equal 56, what times 8 equals 32? The answer is 4. So you can come up with the same answer if and only if it makes easy equivalent fractions. So let's look at number 2. Let's just look here and see, can I get from 9 to 36 timesing by something, multiplying by something? So 9 times 4 is 36. So I would have to take 3.2 times 4. So if I put that in my calculator and I do 3.2, or 3 and 2/10 times 4, you get 12.8. So n equals 12.8. You can do it by cross multiplying. So my cross multiplication is all going to be in orange. I'm going to leave my variable on the left, so 9n equals 3.2 times 36. I did that in my calculator. It's 115.2. Divide by 9, divide by 9. These 9's cross out, so I'm left with 9 equals, and I did 115.2 divided by 9 in my calculator, and I get the same answer as 12.8. So now you can see there's 2 different options to solve proportional problems. You can do either one. You only get 2 choices if it's easily able to do that. Question number 3. If I look at this one and I'm going to try and solve it by equivalent fractions, 41 divided by something gives me 5. Is that an easy one to solve? No, it would be easy if this would be like either 40 or 45. Then I could do it by that. But because I cannot do that with my known, I have to do the cross multiplication. So I have to do the circling. And so then I have 5x equals, and then 41 times 2 is 82. And then I'm going to divide by 5, divide by 5. X equals, and then 82 divided by 5 in my calculator was 16.4. So you see, sometimes you can do it by the equivalent fractions, but sometimes you can't. So let's try one more problem and do the last story problem together. Take a minute, pause the video, read through the story problem, know what's on that story problem, and try to solve it. When you're done trying to solve it, go ahead and replay the video. So Trina earns $28.50 tutoring for 3 hours. So I'm going to write that down. I make $28.50, and that's for 3 hours of work. Write an equation relating her earnings, M, to the number of hours, H, she tutors. Assuming the situation is proportional, how much would Trina earn tutoring for 2 hours? And then we have to find it again for 4.5. So when we first set it up as $28.50 for 3 hours, I have to figure out how much that is an hour. So I have to change it all the way down to get 1 hour because I have to have it as a unit rate. So I had to take 3 divided by 3 to get 1, and $28.50 divided by 3 is $9.50. So she makes $9.50 per hour. So now to write the equation, which we have been doing, and I'm just going to use y because we're used to using y. Y equals 9.5 or $9.50 times X. X equals my number of hours. So then they asked us to find out in 2 hours how much would she make. So I just fill in my equation, $9.50 times 2. So $9.50 times 2 is $19. I do that again, y equals $9.50, but this time they said 4.5 hours, so 4.5. So in my calculator, I'm just gonna take 9.5 times 4.5, and I get $42.75. So that is what she's making tutoring. I hope that these problems have helped you. If you need more help, please email me. We can set up a Google Meet to go over any questions or concerns that you might have if you're not understanding it. Because tomorrow you'll be doing the IXL practice. Remember, make sure I need you to comment something that you've learned on this video today and submit that to Canvas for your assignment. Hopefully you guys aren't going crazy, and I hope this helped. Have a good day.